Hey, we're live now.
Hi, friends.
I surprise Nick when we go live so that if he does anything terrible, it might still get caught.
Why would you assume I do something terrible, Eric?
I'm prepared. People can't really see your face. There's a whole lot of Mike and not a lot of Nick.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry.
You don't have to get any closer.
It's kind of your job to tell me that. You didn't.
I just did.
So that's fine.
That was me doing
That's
my
fine.
job. Oh, boy, huh?
Yeah.
Tuesdays.
I know.
Hump day.
I'm ready to go. I'm excited.
Yeah.
I hope you all have checked out our most recent episode. It's an unnumbered episode, an off-the-books interview with Mr. Michael Nesmith himself. Mike Nesmith, of course, from the Monkees and many other things. We were talking about his new novel, and they're doing a book club on this on the website. So if you haven't heard the episode, go back and check it out because it's a lot of fun. We're going to talk a little bit about it today, but not much.
What's the song where they're like, haven't you heard?
Who is like that?
Somebody sings like, haven't you heard?
I don't know.
Somebody sings that. Who is it?
Somebody sings "Haven't You Heard?"
Haven't you heard?
Huh? No, I don't know.
Hmm.
Sorry, I wish I could help you.
All right, I'll look it up. You vamp.
Please do. Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Do you guys want to hear more about the interview that we did last week? It was really fun. We just kind of came out of nowhere. You know, I saw they were doing the book club and reached out, and it came together very quickly. But it was exciting, good times. I don't know why. Why do you need to know this though?
What?
Haven't you heard? That's it.
Let's see if this is it. Wow, there's 2 ads in front of this song. Though.
I don't.
So it must be. It's called "Haven't You Heard" by Patrice.
Nobody likes this.
Patrice Rashan.
I don't like it.
Let's just see.
What?
Hold on. 45 minutes in.
What if we don't do this?
This song.
That's the one?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, now I know. All right, let's do it.
No, that was it. That's why we recorded today.
Oh, that was it? That was all you wanted?
I just wanted to know who sings "Haven't You Heard."
Well, yeah. Who is it?
Haven't you heard?
I mean, who is it?
Patrice Rashan. Rashan.
Patrice Rashad or Rashan. Okay. So
Haven't you heard?
just take those 14 letters and assemble them any way you want. She sang a song called "Haven't You Heard?"
Yeah.
Yep.
Like a. I got nothing.
Yeah, I understand.
A Russian Wheel of Fortune. Because there's a lot of K's.
Huh. Okay.
Like there's 5 K's.
Sure.
In one word.
Sure.
I don't know.
I don't know either.
Haven't you heard? What are we talking about today?
Well, today.
All right, let's get to the
Oh, you want to do
podcast.
the episode?
Yeah,
Okay.
let's do the episode.
Okay.
We're just going to start recording.
All right.
Hello.
Everything cool? Is that heater too hot for you before we start?
Man.
No? Just right? Okay.
Ain't nothing too
Sorry,
hot
I'm
for
just
this
getting a
guy.
blast on my face. That's all.
Really?
Yeah.
Stop breathing into your hand.
Sorry.
Okay. I guess we should really go. Ready?
We should, yeah.
Episode 191.
Yep.
Hey, you in a bad mood?
No.
Guys, check this guy out. He
know.
thinks he can hide it, but the camera always adds 10 grumpy pounds.
Huh. Interesting. Never heard that expression. Huh. Okay. Oh, this is not good. This is a bad start.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
Woo. I tell you what, eczema has changed my life.
Apparently, not for the better.
Let's do this.
Let's do it. I'm ready. Yeah.
Whew. All right. Welcome to episode 191 of the All the Books Show, recorded at the David A. Howe Public Library, where we talk book news, author news, and literary news. I'm Eric Mickles.
I'm Nick Gunning.
And Nick, I
Yes.
want to know if... No, never mind. I've already forgotten it. Just go. Pretend I didn't try
All
to
right.
derail
Well,
anything.
this week we're going to be talking about Poetry Month. April is Poetry Month every year. And so last time when Malik, who's on staff here, joined us to talk Kwame Alexander, we learned what a poetry aficionado he is. So we've invited Malik back. We each read 2 books together, all 3 of us. Poet X, Love Poems for Married People. We're going to be talking about those a little later when Malik joins us here for the 3rd seat.
Yeah.
That's coming up in a bit. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for everybody who tuned in special last week for our interview with Michael Nesmith. Went really well, and we got a lot of good feedback from that, so thanks very much.
Thank you.
It was so much fun. It was so... I don't know. It was such a nice...
I was in the room.
I know.
People might listen to the interview and think I had nothing. I
No,
was
no.
in the room.
He was here, yeah. And every time things were going well, we were kind of like, yeah, that was good.
Yeah.
Silently communicating across
I was looking
the room,
up all the
but-
big words that were over my head.
Yeah. That's true. I got back to my desk and on my laptop, the word salient was up there with the definition.
Yeah.
So
I didn't know.
I think we both learned something.
I didn't
that
know
day.
if Mike Nesmith was being very nice to you,
Yeah.
or if he was like insulting you.
Really tossed me
But
under the bus.
he was
No,
very nice.
Very
to you.
nice, very polite. We had very good discussion.
He
on
remembered
his
your
book.
name.
He did. The Long Sandy Hair of Neftune Zamora. So if you haven't read the book, again, we have it here in the collection. You can get it through Video Ranch 3D. It's also you can get an ebook on there as well. So check that out. And the book club, as we said last week, is going on over on their Facebook page, Michael Nesmith's Video Ranch 3D. All right, so this week, no Mike Nesmith, but we have Malik coming up a little bit later.
And Malik's nice because magic and mystery are part of his history,
Huh.
as is the secret of gummy bear juice.
Huh. Interesting.
yeah.
Interesting. Eric's did a deep dive on Hanna-Barbera, so he's got a lot of Hanna-Barbera songs rolling through his head.
This guy calling Disney Animation's Gummy Bears a Hanna-Barbera cartoon.
Oh, that's true. It's not.
Yeah.
So why was it in your compilation of Hanna-Barbera tunes?
I was looking up Hanna-Barbera, but then I also clicked on a 80s.
You just got sidetracked.
Like all
Okay.
the cartoon
I
intros.
understand.
They
I
get.
understand.
Sorry.
You know what? All the cartoon intros would be a podcast that I would be all about doing if you want to spin off and just talk about 80s cartoon songs. I would do it.
Oh, frick.
All right, let's dive into our
What about
bookmarks
all the
today.
Did Huckleberry Hound have a opening song?
Well, Huckleberry Hound was part of like a package show with
Oh,
Yogi
yeah.
Bear and other things, so
Yeah.
it
El
did
Kabong.
have one, but
Yeah.
anyway.
Okay.
All right, let's do your bookmark first. What do you got going on, big guy?
Thank you for calling me big guy.
Yeah.
It makes me feel like strong.
Well, you're taller than me.
Hey.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You are.
I am.
You got some good height
All
on
right.
this one.
I finished The Lady of the Lake by
Oh, The Witcher.
I'm ready to stop trying to pronounce his name. Andrzej Sapkowski.
Okay.
The Lady of the Lake, the last book of The Witcher that I have to read
Right.
in order to play the games.
Okay.
And technically, you don't have to play any of the games because he has amnesia when you start the first game,
Oh.
so none of it matters.
Do you mean you don't have to read any of the books?
Right.
Okay.
What'd I say? Read
You don't
the
have
games?
to. You said you don't have to play any of the games.
Oh, boy.
Which is true.
I'm
You don't
out.
have
Yeah.
to. You don't have to. Let me ask you this,
yeah.
because when last we discussed The Witcher, you weren't sure if Ciri was now The Witcher or if what's his face? What's his name?
Geralt.
Geralt was. So who is The Witcher?
I think they're both Witchers.
They're both Witchers.
I mean, she doesn't Witcher.
Okay.
She doesn't
Witcher.
She doesn't Witcher.
Okay.
Yeah, very
and
much.
that's a verb.
So even in this
Okay.
book, he still
Love
finds
is a
time to
verb.
Witcher. But the book is very much this whole series really just becomes series.
Okay.
Sorry, that's confusing. All the books start to become series.
The character.
The character series.
Series.
She becomes. I was reading Lady of the Lake, and after a while, I'm like, if somebody had asked me, is Geralt even in this book, I would not be mad
Okay,
at that. I
so
wouldn't be like,
Geralt begins as our main protagonist, and the focus
Yeah.
shifts to Ciri in the later books.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't really know anything about these books, so I mean, I assume they're fantasy
yes.
and they're magic.
Yeah.
Is
Sometimes.
The Witcher is it like witchcraft, or
No.
he's not like a witch?
No, he's not a witch.
He's not a witch.
No.
He's a witcher.
He's a witcher.
One who witches.
Yes.
Okay.
He witchers.
He witchers.
Because to witch would mean you're a witch.
Okay.
But a
But
witcher.
to witcher. Okay.
Witchers are monster hunters.
oh, okay.
So he just goes out and gets paid to kill monsters that are bothering people. And
So he's like Dog the Bounty Hunter, but for monsters.
for monsters,
Okay.
yeah. But where the first two short story collections are just about him going off and having his adventures.
Witchering.
Witchering.
Yeah.
The novels become just a high fantasy series with lots of politics.
I see.
That's it. Lots of politics.
And is that good?
Not from my standpoint.
Interesting.
It becomes less interesting and not what I really wanted to read about.
So you prefer the short stories?
Yes.
Okay.
And they also, a lot of times, especially in The Lady of the Lake, it felt like Sapkowski wanted to write other series, wanted to write other fantasy stories, and instead he just put them into the Witcher books.
Ah.
And so I was like, I'll just make a whole chapter that's like this.
Yeah.
And after a while, I'm just like, I don't care.
You know, that's
So.
funny. That reminds me of L. Frank Baum, who wrote The Wizard of Oz.
Mm.
He wrote The Wizard of Oz, and then he wrote other books that had
Right.
nothing to do with The Wizard of Oz, and they weren't selling. So basically, he would write another book and then have them like end up in Oz at the end, so he could call it an Oz book.
Right.
And then he would take characters from his side books, give them a Wizard of Oz story, and then you
that
have to
would
be
do
like,
it.
now you got to go read Captain Bill and Trot
Yeah.
over here.
Yeah.
So clever guy, that L. Frank
He
Baum.
solved the Ant-Man problem long before Marvel.
I guess he did.
So.
I guess he did.
The book picks up steam when they go to fight the big bad.
yeah.
and it's a big, long out battle. A lot of the characters that have been hanging out with Geralt perish.
Yeah.
It's a bummer. But then I was reading, I'm like, I still have 30% to go.
Wow.
And it just keeps going, and you just keep touring more stuff, and I'm like, I'm very ready to be done. But that whole like fight and build up and everything is pretty good. So
tell me if you think this is a proper for a children's book. Okay,
The Witcher series.
In the Wizard of Oz.
Okay.
The Gnome King is immortal. He can't be killed.
Okay.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And so to get around this, Dorothy and the Wizard turn him to glass and then shatter him and bury him.
Right. For kids.
So he's eternal. He's not dead.
Yeah.
He's just living this like hellish existence as shards of buried glass.
Yeah.
Isn't that just like so dark?
Yeah.
And they were like, "Well, we did it. Let's move on." I was like, "Oh my gosh."
Yeah. You read this as a 4-year-old?
Yeah, it haunts my dreams.
Yeah. And then Teddy Ruxpin slowly turned his head. He's like, "Did you like that
Teddy
story,
Ruxpin
Nick?"
is creepy no matter what you do. So there's nothing not creepy about Teddy Ruxpin.
Yeah.
And you can quote me.
Yeah.
What else you got?
Well, I got a Teddy Ruxpin with me.
I believe it.
I heard what you said.
Yeah.
All right. I read and finished The Poet X
Yes.
by Elizabeth
Acevedo. Yes.
And it was fine.
Don't tell us that now.
Okay.
We're doing a spotlight with Malik.
I'm sorry.
Do you see Malik?
No.
Me neither.
I started reading Artemis by Andy Weir.
As did I.
I read this book called Too Many Dogs by Jeff Gottisfield.
Oh, yes.
Because we might have an interview again.
Yeah, down the road.
So
Yep.
this is a story about a couple of young girls who have money on their mind and their mind on their money.
Oh.
And so they walk dogs to get some of that money.
Interesting. Too many dogs, probably.
Yeah, eventually, but also they're flush with cash by the end.
Well, hey.
So,
you know.
I've read Wolverine and the X-Men, the second series. This isn't by Jason Aaron, which I loved. The first volume was I liked it. People on Goodreads didn't seem to like it, but I got really involved with it.
Well, speaking of things that people didn't seem to like, the show, Wolverine and the X-Men, one season, excellent show, ends on a great note, and then there's no more.
Yeah.
But anyway.
A lot of cool stuff in there with a lot of new stuff with like the Phoenix and stuff.
Yes.
But then the second volume was real bad. A lot of tie-in stuff.
Oh.
It got messed up because of the death of Wolverine and Axis, where some heroes became villains and vice versa. I also read Love Poems for Married People, of which I'm one.
Hey.
So
nice.
Yeah. Nick is as well until at least another like 15 minutes, I think.
Huh.
The papers are going to go through soon, I think.
That was a weird, dark joke. But I'll tell you what, the people in Love Poems
would love that joke.
They probably would because they don't seem like they're doing so great.
No.
But we'll talk about that later.
Yeah. So that's what I read.
Okay. Let's see. I think I had a pretty busy week. Let me find my list here.
Okay.
Here's some things I finished. Well, we'll start with Uncle Nick's Poetry Corner.
No, you have to keep that kind of rhythm you just had. Like, here's some things I finished.
Here's some things I finished. We go to okay. So for my Poetry Corner this week, I read Love Poems for Married People, which we're gonna talk about later. So I won't tell you about it now.
Okay.
I read Ash and Embers by Jim Zoller. It was pretty good. I still prefer his collection, Simple Clutter, which we have in the collection, but this was pretty good. It kind of alternated between personal stuff and bigger, broader, like world issues, and I thought the strength was in the personal and less so in the broadness. Yeah. So this is a new release. We have it in our new book collection, so you can check that out.
Zoller sounds like a wizard name.
It does.
Yeah.
Maybe he knows The Witcher.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, the Zoller. Zoller and The Witcher. Yeah. All right, I finished The Final Days of Superman, and let me tell you, folks, this is a graphic novel.
Is this in your Poetry Corner?
No, okay. Poetry Corner's closed. This is a graphic novel that kind of concludes the story of New 52 Superman, and it's not well received, but I really liked the end run of the New 52 Superman, starting with Gene Yang's Truth, and then going through to the final days of Superman. I thought it was a really good, long story, and I thought it ended very impactfully. So I was surprisingly moved by that.
Yeah.
So check it out, but don't just read Final Days of Superman. You need to start with Truth.
Oh, boy.
I can help you. Ask me on Twitter, All the Book Show. I will tell you how to read this series.
Is this the only Superman thing you read?
Good. No, I also read a Smallville novel called Greed. By Cherie Bennett and Jeff Gottisfield.
Lex Luthor's on the cover, but Clark is also wearing a very nice suit.
He is. You know what's funny about this cover? It's like they saw the title and they were like, Greed, yeah, we'll just do like suits.
Right.
But it's actually about them running a summer camp together. Never are they in suits. So this is
it
the worst.
looks like Lex Luthor's trying to convince Clark to become like a
he's
Wall
like,
Street mogul.
Well, Clark, Alexander the Great once said. But no, it's nothing like that. They're just
paddle your own canoe during the canoe race.
Exactly. They're just out on a camp. You know,
Does Clark constantly have to be like, I can't use my powers to win dodgeball against these kids?
Boy, that happens a lot. It does. It absolutely does. That is a major plot point. It's basketball, but still, very, very good. Very prescient of you over there, Eric. Anyway, so I read that. I'm a fan of this series. My favorite of the 3 that I've read so far would be Speed, but this is a fun series. If you're a fan of the series Smallville,
Speed is the one where Smallville's in like 1950s racial America, and it's dealing with right?
Basically, yes. Sorry, I thought you were doing a bit, but no, it is. I mean,
of.
it's not set in the 50s, but that one does deal with racial issues, which was a nice change because Smallville did not do that.
Yeah.
Well, I did a deep dive into the long sandy hair of Neptune Zamora, written by Michael Nesmith, which you can hear all about in the previous episode.
Oh boy,
that is a fun read, though. Check that out. And let's see, I am currently reading Infinite Tuesday, which is Nez's autobiography, which I don't know how I've never read it before.
If it's this Tuesday, count me out.
You don't like this Tuesday?
No, it's fine. But I don't want it to be.
Having a good time.
I wouldn't want this Tuesday to be infinite.
Okay.
Go on though, Michael Nesmith.
Yeah, I'm reading that. That's fun. As I mentioned, I've also started Artemis by Andy Weir.
Do you know I almost asked if you can explain why there's a monkey on the cover?
You know what? I didn't even realize that. My wife was like, "Oh, look, there's a psychedelic monkey on the cover," and I was like, "Wait a minute!" And then she was like, "Oh, wait." So
yeah, I'm looking at him like, "Oh, I wonder why he puts the monkeys."
Yeah. But maybe that's not why. I don't know. I should have asked him. Let's call him back. Hold on. Okay. Let me just call him right up. Let's see. Is there anything else?
He thinks you're smart, so you should.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you're reading Artemis.
Run while I have, exit on a high point.
What about Treasure Island?
I'm reading Artemis by Andy Weir. Oh, I did skip that, yes. I read Treasure Island by
the Muppets.
Robert Louis Stevenson.
Oh, right.
Yep, which I think I have read Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, and I always forget that those are written by the same author.
Mm-hmm.
But I'd never read this before. I was only familiar with the Muppets. So I read this novel, and I enjoyed it. I thought it was pretty good. I think it holds up overall. There's a couple times where you can feel kind of the clunkiness of age, but overall it's a good story with compelling characters. Eric's reading this, Jessica is reading this, and we're going to do a special episode on it to tie in with the theatrical performance of Treasure Island that we're doing here at the library. Yeah. So that is coming up. In Artemis, as I said, I'm reading for the science fiction or sci-fi book club that we're doing. I loved The Martian, which is Andy Weir's first book. Yeah. I love that from Sentence 1, which did have the F word in it, so maybe.
Oh, yeah, it did.
But this one is taking a little longer. I'm reserving judgment, but I'm not wowed instantly, so we'll see. We'll see how it goes. And that's it for me. That's going to do it. That's a wrap on Nick's book.
Did you ever finish Trunk Music?
Thank you, Eric. Yes,
yeah, no problem.
I read Trunk Music by Michael Connolly. This is a Harry Bosch book. Yeah, I did. Oh. It's about, I think it's book 5 or 6. It didn't work for me. It was very long. There's a lot going on. It was the one right before this called The Last Coyote. Harry has the personal stake in this case, and so he kind of goes rogue to solve this case for personal reasons, and that works. This one, a similar thing happens where he has a personal stake in it, so he has to kind of go rogue and work against. So I just thought 2 books back to back, even though...
Yeah, what is this, an Ethan Hunt film?
I know. Even though the premises are different, it's not the exact same thing. Like one is a parent and one is a lover, but it's still the same kind of vibe. And I just thought, well, that's weird. And it worked really well in Last Coyote, and it was clunky in Trunk Music. And then all of the internal affairs stuff happening, it was just too much. I think it would have been a better book with just good guys, bad guys, things happening. I don't know. I would rate this probably about the lowest of the Connollys that I've read so far. And it was long.
Right.
You know?
Yeah. Which one's Rogue Protocol?
Ghost Protocol.
Ghost Protocol.
Yeah. And then Rogue Nation.
Rogue Nation.
I think Ghost Protocol is 4.
Yes. Okay. That's what I was getting. I got the title wrong.
Mission Impossible film.
I got to remember Rogue Nation as in the X-Men Rogues pirate radio station.
Yeah. And you understand that the Gnome King is still alive. He's just living in eternity as shattered glass.
Yeah.
That a child did to him.
Sometimes when I think about if I found a genie and I'd wish for immortality or whatever, like Superman and whatnot.
You sure would. That's you in a nutshell.
I'm worried that people would figure that out and just cover me in cement. And then I would just be in cement for the rest of my life.
That's kind of the plot of the Johnny Depp, Tim Burton, Dark Shadows film.
Oh, geez.
He's basically just...
Yeah, I guess eventually you just kind of turn your brain off.
You just become Zen, probably, I would think.
Yeah.
I would hope.
Yeah.
But I don't like to think about it. So let's move it on along.
Okay, what are we moving it on along?
Well, let's do some book news. Keep in mind, folks, that the Edgar Awards are going to be announced in the coming weeks. So you can find all the nominees at the Edgar Awards website. So just do a search for that and take a look. We'll talk about the awards when they come out. So that's one thing coming up. But we haven't done the New York Times bestseller list in a while, and I'm actually kind of curious.
Actually, what's going on. It was more different than normal last week. But some things came back to the top.
Darn
we just missed it.
Darn to the
So get ready for some old favorites.
Well, don't. Okay.
Back again.
You spun it well by calling them favorites.
Thank you.
That.
Number 10 on the New York Times bestsellers list for hardcover fiction, you have The Chef by James Patterson with Max Dalio.
I read it.
Caleb Rooney, a police detective and celebrity food truck chef, must clear his name of murder allegations.
None of that's real.
But then he's mostly doing a food truck.
He's mostly cooking gumbo and stuff. He's not a celebrity. I mean, he has a popular food truck, and he resigns from the police force in basically the prologue,
right?
And is never trying to dodge a murder allegation. So I don't understand who wrote that, but that's not what it's about. It is fun though, but I would have liked more cooking and less copping. The problem is that it's not just like there's a crime.
Is there recipes in there?
No, he's trying to like run a food truck and stop like a large scale terrorist attack.
Right.
It's just too much. Doesn't make any sense.
Okay.
But it's still kind of fun.
All right. Well, up next is C.J. Bach's Wolfpack. Joe Pickett.
This is a novelization of the Michelle Pfeiffer, Jack Nicholson film Wolf. It's not. Yeah. That's a terrible film, everyone.
Yes.
That's so
yes,
bad.
it is. The Wyoming game
Can I tell you something, though?
What?
Jack Nicholson and Mike Nesmith, old pals.
Oh.
Jack Nicholson worked a lot on the Monkees movie Head, which is, and this is not a pun, bananas. The movie is bananas, okay?
All right.
But yeah, they're old pals.
Wyoming game warden Joe Pickett and Caitlin Ham take on killers working for the Sonoma cartel. Oh yeah, we've talked about this. I'm not familiar with that cartel.
Yeah, me neither. I'm not familiar with it either.
Yeah.
But I do know if there's a drug cartel coming, I want a game warden to be the last line of defense.
What makes the game warden fun is you don't normally use a game warden.
Absolutely.
So he's going to be over his head.
Yeah.
He's going to be like that lit song, "I'm in over my head" from the film Titan AE.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a deep dive.
Thank you.
Good for you.
Thank you.
No one's mentioned that movie in decades, I want to say.
Drew Barrymore might drop. Nathan Lane?
I can tell you right now that Drew Barrymore has no memory of Titan AE.
What about Bill Pullman?
I met Bill Pullman.
Did he talk about Titan AE?
He didn't. He talked about Spaceballs a little bit.
Yeah.
And we got him to sign While You Were Sleeping.
Oh, okay.
He's not on the cover of Spaceballs. What are you going to do?
Yeah,
Anyway.
Number 8 is...
Nice guy.
Bill Pullman?
Yeah,
or?
nice
Okay,
guy.
Sure.
Yep, nice guy.
Number 8. Oh, I was watching Barry. The first season of Barry opens up with these two guys who are about to be killed by a hitman, and they're arguing about like pausing the movie. He's like, "You never listen. This is some passive-aggressive crap that you always pull." And he opens the door and he gets shot, and the hitman comes in. It turns out they were watching While You Were Sleeping. Because Sandra Bullock's just talking. He's like, "Well, I can't do a Sandra Bullock impression."
No, but I God bless you for trying. You just dove right in. And if you would have nailed it, that would have been a story.
Yeah.
Would have been a great story.
One day, Eric was telling a story about While You Were Sleeping.
Yeah.
He pulled out a Sandra Bullock impression.
Yeah.
Knocked my socks off.
Yeah. So do you think the Gnome King's consciousness is just like floating above it all, or is he inhabiting individual shards of glass in the land of odds?
There's a piece of glass shard that represents his brain.
That is the brain.
Yes.
Oh, boy.
Number 8, The Cemetery Road by Greg Iles. The journalist, right? Iles?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
The journalist Marshall McEwen returns to his hometown, which is shaken by 2 deaths and an economy on the brink. Yeah. So...
okay.
I got nothing. I was trying to think of like a funny way to spin that.
I had a funny thing, and then you said 2 deaths, and I just thought, well.
Number 7, Daisy Jones and the Six. It was gone off the top 10, but now it's back.
Yeah.
Taylor Jenkins Reid, a fictional oral history charting the rise and fall of 70s rock and roll band Daisy Jones and the Six.
Yes, excellent read. Really is. I got an advanced copy of this from the ALA conference. And as I've said before, it really is. It's a great book. It's worth a read. It feels very real. It's hard. You have to sort of remember, wait, this is fiction, because you want to go and listen to the songs that these bands are playing. I will say, if I could go in and tweak some things in the last half, it would have. for me, it would have been a total 5-star, knock it out of the park. But
you mean like when they're doing their Tusk equivalent?
No, there's just some things that happen that just like I feel like undermine the experience you've had leading up to it. That I think is a real mistake. But but it doesn't make it so the book is like not worth it. It's not a Battlestar Galactica situation, if you understand.
Yeah, I
the
understand.
Reference.
I understand.
Do you?
Number 6, The Silent Patient by Alex McKillides. Theo Faber looks into the mystery of a famous painter who stopped speaking after shooting her husband. So you could also just call this The Fifth. She's pleading the
fifth. Yeah.
Number 5, Celtic Empire by Clive Cussler and Dirk Cluster.
Oh.
This is the 25th book in the Dirk Pitt series.
Yes. Only 25? Are you sure about that?
That's what it says.
Wow. Dirk Pitt's been going since like the 60s.
Yeah.
Okay.
He's been doing other stuff.
All right.
This is Dirk Pitt alive at 25.
Cover check. How's this doing?
It's not great.
Oh, come on.
It's just like an old Viking Celtic boat.
I don't know. That sounds good. What's it called?
Celtic Empire, but it's not doing anything. It's just kind of floating between rocks. There's no fire. There's no biplane crashing. There's no tornado in the distance.
I want to see Nazi gold. That's all. That's all I want.
Up next is Runaway by Harlan Coben. A family is torn apart when the daughter becomes addicted to drugs and goes missing.
Wow.
Sorry, I had to something was going on, so I had to pause.
Emotional. It was very emotional.
Yeah. So hopefully this family puts it back together.
You know what, folks? I can concur with Eric. This Clive Cussler cover is not compelling.
It's not very exciting.
It's not good.
Number 3 is The Savior by J.R. Ward. This is the 17th book in the Black Dagger Brotherhood series.
Look out.
Secrets about inhuman experiments surface at a biomedical firm. Are these werewolves or what are these?
I haven't read these, so I'm not sure.
Let's assume they're werewolves.
Let's do it.
And people are messing with werewolf genomes.
If it's not werewolves, you can find us at All the Book Show on Twitter. And J.R. Ward, if you're listening, come talk to us on the podcast.
Number 2, The Corn Walls Are Gone. Oh, by James Patterson and Brendan DuBois.
Yeah, I keep seeing this. It looks interesting to me.
An Army intelligence officer must commit a crime or lose her daughter. An Army intelligence officer must commit a crime or lose her kidnapped husband and daughter.
Wow.
Yeah, I thought it was just the daughter.
Yeah.
But it turns out it's the husband and daughter.
12. Listen.
What?
If that's the plan, they're never going to let the kid and the husband go.
Right. You give them money, they're going to ask for more.
Yeah, it's not going to It's not going to work. It's not going to work. So
twist, the husband and the daughter plan the kidnapping on their own.
Wow.
Yeah.
Shut your mouth.
Yeah, I don't know.
No, that's not true?
Is that
true?
No, I made that up.
You made it up. But it could be true.
Apologies if that's true.
Yeah, that'd be a major spoiler.
Yeah. She's like, how am I going to get to college? He's like, we're going to have to
kidnap
ransom
ourselves.
Your mom so that your mom gives us money for you to go to college.
Yeah, it's not a perfect plan. It is not a perfect plan.
Yeah. Number 1 on the New York Times bestsellers list. It's The New Nightingale. The new...
where the crawdads...
Where the crawdads sing.
Yep.
By Dahlia Owens.
It's here in perpetuity.
Yeah. A woman who survived alone in the marsh becomes a murder suspect. My wife got a copy of this.
That's nice.
Yeah. This is part of Reese Witherspoon's book club, who is getting her second season of Big Little Lies. I guess the preview just came out.
That's right.
With the addition of Meryl Streep.
Yeah. Oh, really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
She's going to be all in there, and she's going to be like, you wear Prada
Meryl Streep. Oh, really?
Yeah.
From The Devil Wears Prada.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Maybe she'll sing a song like by Three Dogs Night.
Boy, you're being weird.
Because you thought I was going to say ABBA.
Yeah, I guess.
Would you go see a Three Dogs Night musical?
Sure, yeah.
Seems like a good idea.
Yeah.
It's like somebody's like, man, I got to go on vacation. Have you ever been to Spain?
Yeah. I mean, I'm all for the jukebox musical. I think it's a good time. I never saw Strange Magic, but...
What's that?
It's a jukebox musical.
Oh, the George Lucas produced thing.
Yeah, I
the
guess
animated
so.
one.
Yeah.
I heard it wasn't great.
Well, I'm sure it wasn't, but...
Okay.
Probably would have been fun to hear the songs.
Well, agreed.
So, Where the Crawdads Sing are number 1?
Yeah.
Okay.
You don't have to say they. You don't have to refer to them as are. You don't have to say Where the Crawdads Sing are at number 1 because it's not multiple.
You're right. Yeah, I see what I did now. All right. I'm gonna tell Malik we're ready.
Okay.
All right.
And then we're just gonna vamp a little bit.
Well, I guess we got to change the microphones around.
Oy, you are difficult.
Sorry.
No, it's all right. You're the best kind of difficult. The difficult that I can quit.
Hey, what? All right, let's do it. You want me to vamp while you do the microphones?
Well, I do. Why do you keep saying it like I'm going to do anything? I'm just going to go to bed right now.
Oh, really?
I'm going home.
Okay.
Bye.
All right.
You want to get the microphone?
Sure.
Make yourself useful. Why do I talk like this? It doesn't help anybody. So yeah, apologies, Twitch, but we got to change the microphone because we are getting Malik. What episode is this? 191. Yep. That's exciting. Thanks. Friend?
Right. Well, one of the things that we were talking about last time with the Kwame Alexander books were this new thing where novels more and more are being written in the poetry style, in that new format. So I'm sure that's happened in the past before, but I feel like Kwame Alexander really was the one who sort of popularized that and made it like a thing.
Him or the one that's Inside Out and Back Again?
I don't know about that.
I think they're contemporary. I'm not sure which one came first.
Okay.
But I think they together popularized.
So we're going to talk about 2 books today. The first is The Poet X by, I don't remember the name, by Elizabeth Acevedo. So this is one that we talked about a little bit last time. This book has pretty much swept a lot of major awards this year. Yes. So it won, first the Michael L. Prince Award for Excellence in Young Adult Literature. It won the National Book Award for Young People's Literature. It won the Globe Horn Award for Best Fiction of 2018. And it won the Pura Belpré Award, which honors Latin writers whose books best portray, affirm, and celebrate the Latino cultural experience. So this book has been all over the place. It's won many awards. She's writing a follow-up, she doesn't follow the same character, but her sophomore book is coming out, With the Fire on High, and that's coming out next month. So let's talk a little bit about The Poet X.
Poet X.
Who wants to dive in first? Let's start this way. Did we like it? What about you?
I'll go first.
Okay.
I liked it.
Yeah.
I did like it.
Okay.
I liked
Was that with reservations?
No, not at all.
Okay.
I really enjoyed it. I read it once, and then I kind of skimmed through it again. And I found the second time that I kind of skimmed through it, I liked it a little even more.
Liked it better the second time.
Yeah.
I felt like I did like it. I don't think it's hard not to compare it to the Kwame Alexander ones we did. No. I don't think that I would rate it as high as I would rate like The Rebound or The Crossover, but I did enjoy it. I felt like story-wise, it was a little slow until about the second half when the issues and stuff started to come out a little bit more. I liked that half better. I thought it moved a little quicker, but overall I thought it was pretty good. What about you, Eric?
Yeah, I liked it. I found the actual writing to be less poetic, I guess. I don't know anything about Bohm, so I'm probably, but it felt like it read like a segmented prose more than poetry to myself. So whereas if you're talking about the crossover, it feels like it's playing with the concept of poetry and being able to move the words all around the page and everything. This one felt a little bit more conservative in its presentation, but I liked it. I have nothing in common with the main character.
Yeah.
So this was one of those. This is one of those books that was like, wow, all right, so this is how someone like this lives.
Yeah, but I kind of appreciated that about it. It was kind of hard to relate to.
There's usually with YA I find one other thing that I'm like, oh yeah, this is what teenage, but yeah, comparing my teenage years to anything in Poet X, I couldn't find it, so...
Well, I don't think I actually read... I listened to the audiobook for a lot of this, read by the author, which was excellent, and actually it was an honor, given an honor from the audiobook awards as well, so the audiobook was pretty well received. Did it do anything unique with the format of the poetry? Kwame Alexander?
It did. It was a little different. The crossover had a lot of rhyming.
Yeah.
And it seemed more fun.
Yeah.
A lot of the poetry in this book was more serious.
Yeah.
And it was more heartfelt kind of. And she mixed a lot of poetry with the storytelling.
Yeah.
So she would be telling the story and then she would be saying how she feels. So I think those parts when she was talking about how she felt was more a little more poetic.
Yeah.
It would seem than
Yeah, I do know what you mean. I think, to go back to what you're saying, Eric, about it not feeling quite as, I don't know, poetic, I guess, for lack of a better word. Listening to the audiobook, I don't think you ever would have guessed that it was written in verse. Like, I don't think you would have picked that up at all.
Oh, okay.
So, I think that probably worked for it in some ways. I mean, it's still been a popular book, as we said, with all the awards and everything.
Well, gender-based, too, is about a female.
Mm-hmm.
I could relate to it a lot.
Mm-hmm.
One, just growing up in an urban area, I could relate to a lot of that kind of stuff. And
so it felt genuine to you?
Oh, yes, definitely. Right. Very genuine.
Okay.
And I have 5 sisters.
There we go.
Yeah, I have 5 sisters, too, so a lot of it, and I grew up in church.
Okay.
So a lot of it I could relate to.
Yeah. Well, let's
it was
talk
very
about
familiar
that.
to me.
Oh, good. Okay, well, that's good. That's good because, like I said, it wasn't to me, so it's good to know that it actually was grounded in that way. But let's talk about the church aspect of it a little bit. Eric and I were talking about this a little off mic, and this was kind of I felt like it was kind of a missed opportunity to have the religious aspect of it kind of just be the villain of the story. It kind of felt like it never. I didn't really feel like X really gained any more like understanding about her parents' like faith and religion. I didn't really feel like there was much growth in that regard, other than for her to just be like, this is not for me and I don't want it, which is fine. It's not that you can't do that in a story. You certainly can. I just think that it would have helped, just from a character standpoint, I think it would have helped flesh out the parents a little bit more if you saw a little bit of some genuine reaction to like church and spirituality. I don't know. Do you know what I mean? Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, definitely. I think really what I was getting from it is that she was pressed a lot into religion, and that made her feel really uncomfortable.
Yeah.
It is a part towards the end where she starts talking about the Bible.
Yeah.
And she basically says, I'm paraphrasing, but she says that the Bible is all metaphors. So basically the whole Bible is a poem.
Right.
So I think she was just trying to make a parallel to
I guess that's true. So
her finding her voice. And that's the way, like, how she see religion.
Sure.
She
like
wasn't really
was,
into
you're saying like for her that was her way to relate to it, is sort of put it in the context.
Instead of all the traditions
that
they were trying to push her to do. That,
Yeah.
And it was more of making her feel guilty for being a woman and being who she was.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
So.
Yeah, and I thought it handled that really well. I mean, not that I can speak with authority about like what it's like to be a teenage girl, but when I feel like often, I mean, I'm sure you've experienced this reading YA books a lot. That often you get kind of a watered down like girl character. Do you know what I mean? Like often in YA. No.
I don't. I guess not too much of what I've read.
Oh, okay.
So
all right. Well, maybe that's more old school. I mean, maybe that's more like the old tradition of writing those kind of characters. But I thought like, she wasn't a perfect character. Like she just seemed kind of like troubled and real and genuine. I thought like her character in particular, I thought was like, for better or worse, felt like a real person. Right. You know what I mean? I didn't think there was any attempt to like make her seem particularly, I don't know. She wasn't portrayed to be like, look at this heroic person. Right. It was just like, this is a normal person trying to like
character. I think that's why so many women probably related to it.
Yeah,
because they could understand. Like you said, it wasn't a heroic character. It was just really down to earth, and it wasn't watered down.
Yeah, she was just sort of allowed to be like what she was,
and very
and you could just
vulnerable.
Sort of take it or leave it.
She was very vulnerable
exactly.
a lot.
Yeah, I think the author did a good job about kind of bringing that forward, which again, not something that I can speak about with expertise, but just from my reading of it, I thought that she did a good job with that. I think like overall it worked. I think it was a good story. It just didn't. I guess it didn't speak to me as much as like say Rebound did. I don't know. What do you think?
I mean, I get it. It's just one of those things where, like I said, it's just a lot of the character and what she's going through, and a lot of what's going on around her as well. It's just so foreign to me that it's more, for me, it's more just like a window, rather than something that I can necessarily relate to. Mm-hmm. So it's one of the reasons why I like. I guess reading in general is, it's like the only real way to get into somebody else's shoes. So, yeah, I guess that's just it. Mm-hmm. So,
yeah. Have we found a lot of...
It's a quick read, I thought. So.
Yeah, well, again, I mean, like we said with Kwame Alexander books, I feel like that's something that's a real strength of these books because... It's very approachable in that way. Mm-hmm. Like the amount of words per page, blank space versus words is nice and open. So when you pick it up and flip through it, you think, oh, I can do this. So I think that's a real benefit of that format. And you found that with your book clubs, right?
Yeah, it's why it's also why I read Jason Reynolds' Long Way Down so fast, too. It's like, oh, I can cruise through this in no time. So
see, and I think that's great for the age that they're written for.
Yeah.
You're not gonna. It's not a guarantee that anywhere from a 12 to 14-year-old is going to be like a big avid reader who's going to sit down and read a 400-page novel. But something like this, it's easy to pick up and put down. You can get through it quickly. So I think in that way it's really excellent for that.
Yeah.
And it jumped right into the story.
Yeah.
It was like some comical moments.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that, especially with young people reading, they need that.
Yeah.
It's not so descriptive where it's just describing everything. And it's just jump right into the story, has some comical moments. And I think that makes people, especially younger people, want to keep reading.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree. Well, and kind of like what you said, Eric, it wasn't one that, spoke to me personally. It wasn't one that had a lot of, places where I could feel like, oh, yeah, I've experienced that. Okay. But I think, for the age and the demographic that it's written for, it's excellent. And I think how that something like that is actually a well-written book is that even though it didn't have those things for me, I could still appreciate it. So it probably has its specific market, but I think outside of that, there's a lot that you can pick it up and get out of just reading and experiencing it. So, I think that's a good sign that the book has legs, that it's good, Anything else on Poet X?
I think the dynamic between the mother and the daughter, I think a lot of girls can definitely relate to that too, even if it's not religion.
Right.
It might be some kind
just
of
the conflict
aspect.
The conflict that they had.
Your mother forcing you to be what she wants you to be. So I think that was something big for women too, because a lot of that relationship, that dynamic between the mother and the daughter is always complicated.
That does
like
seem
I said, I had 5 sisters, so I seen that a lot.
Yeah,
I see that a lot.
No, I don't. The dad didn't really. He wasn't a huge character in here.
No, he was like a real dad.
Yeah,
he came in, say a couple words, and dip one out. That's a real dad right there.
All right. Well, we have both the hard copy version and the audiobook, which is read by the author here in the collection. So you can get that here or any of the STLS libraries in our system, or wherever you are, your local library will almost certainly have it because, as I said, it's sweeping awards. So this is Poet X we chose because it's award-winning status and because it's a good branch off from where we were last time with Kwame Alexander. But I'd asked Malik to see if he could find a collection of poetry that the three of us could read and just kind of talk about. And so he went easy on us, I think, and picked one that was fun and approachable. Right. So tell us a little bit about why you picked this one. It's Love Poems for Married People by John Kenny.
Okay. First, I had read this one book. It was called 10 Poems That'll Change Your Life.
Uh-huh.
And it recited a poem, and then it described what the poem meant. And it was real deep. The first 3 poems I read, it was like I was almost crying and everything. But then when I picked that one up and started reading it, it just felt so much more fun.
Yeah.
I had never read any poetry like that before.
Yeah, I don't.
It was so different that I was like, oh, this is the one.
Yeah, it cracked me up.
And then I felt like y'all would enjoy it a little more.
Yeah.
It was an easy read. I got through it in like 2 hours. Yeah. The whole book. So.
Well, it's written by John Kenny. John Kenny, who is he's a regular contributor to the New Yorker, and that's where these love poems kind of got off the ground. He also has one, Love Poems for People with Children, which I guess I have to read that one now. and he's got a novel called Talk to Me. So I really enjoyed this one. I mean, it cracked me up. There was some that I just like laughed right out loud on. And I was like taking pictures and sending them to my wife. Like, this is hilarious.
I did the same thing. I'm like, you gotta read this one.
Yeah, exactly. What did you think?
Yeah, it was funny. Sorry, I'm channeling my.
Wow.
Today I'll be playing the role of Robert De Niro talking about poetry.
I guess so.
No, it was funny. It made me laugh a lot. It made me want to give the book to my wife, so she could read the whole thing.
Yeah.
Some of them I related to. Some was like, oh boy, please not me.
I know. Yeah. I hope this one is not applicable.
Yeah,
that's where some of
yeah. But then there were some that I was like, oh gosh, I've done that.
Yeah,
that's not good.
Yeah.
Especially the ones that are told from the wife's point of view, and she's like, thanks for that.
Yeah.
Or I die inside.
Yeah.
I die. Yeah. There was one talking about the husband using the bathroom with the door open and saying hi, and it just ends with like, when you do that, I die a little. I die. So, it cracked me up. It was funny.
Yeah,
it's probably
it really
the funniest poems I've ever read.
Oh, hands down. Yeah, I don't think I've read something that I've liked this much.
And that's exactly why I wanted to do this one.
Yeah,
because
that's a good pick.
I knew it would be fun, and like I said, I've been reading poetry a long time, and I've never bumped into nothing like that.
Yeah. So how did you? Was it just because I mean I remember ordering this one. Did you just like pick it up? Off the shelf,
I just
okay.
I kind of skimmed through a lot of poetry books.
Okay.
And wasn't this on the New York list?
Was it bestseller?
At least for like a week.
I don't remember. It's possible.
Yeah. It seems to be you know how poetry is. You start reading it, and sometimes you can't really get, especially if you're not into poetry. Yeah. You can't really get into it. And I know, like that one, after I read the first 5, I just couldn't stop reading it. So I was like,
yeah, that's the one. Well, yeah, I think you make a good point that like you don't. I think people have this perception of poetry that it's boring or melodramatic or like that's the only setting that it has is that sort of dreariness. Or like overly romantic. I don't think there's a lot of. I think the average person probably doesn't have. They don't hear poetry and think like, oh great, they hear poetry and think like, oh okay, all right, we have to, which is unfortunate. It's too bad. But also like you're saying, where sometimes you pick it up and you're just not getting into it. I always try to like broaden my horizons a little bit. And with April being Poetry Month, I always try to read a couple of different collections, and I find that most of the time. I'll read through and there's, 50, 60 poems like in any given collection. And it seems like out of those 50 or 60, there'll be like 3 or 4 that I read and think like, oh yeah, that was great. Like that really like spoke to me. That was great. And then the rest of them I'm just kind of like, yeah, okay. So that's usually my experience with poetry. This one, I laughed from start to finish.
Right.
And it's not to take anything away from it. It's not to say that it's like any less because it was funny. It's just doing a different thing. But what it's doing, it's doing it so well.
Yeah. And it seems so simple, simplistic, but so brutally honest and real from his perspective.
Yeah.
So I thought that because when I first started reading, I was like, if he can get published, I'll definitely.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Like when you read it, you feel like, I could write poetry.
Yeah.
I could just talk about how I really feel.
Well, I think what it does, and it wasn't exactly like a positive portrayal of marriage or relationships. It was a little bit more like on the jaded side of things. But I think what he was successful in is finding those little things that are sort of universal. Just little like relationship hiccups or just these little things that you get stuck on in a relationship and sort of making that the center point of each poem and going out from there. Right. I think that's where he really succeeded, finding things that you can read that and be like, yep. Yeah. Whether that applies to you specifically or like you probably have a degree of that, but either way you're going to know what he's talking about.
Right.
So that's where I think that one's very successful.
And I think it takes some of the darkness away from relationships.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people, they feel that way, but they feel so intense and dark about it.
Yeah.
And I think the main thing I got out of that book was more like, it's okay.
Yeah.
This is how things are. This is how we might feel sometimes, but we love each other.
Yeah.
It's okay.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think it's like, it's not saying like this is the standard, this is the normal, like this is the way relationships are. It's just like sometimes you do feel this way. Right. You know what I mean? So Yeah, I agree. It was an excellent choice. I really like that a lot. You 5-starred it on Goodreads. I was surprised.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
There's another book
right there.
that I read in college, a book of poetry I 5-starred.
Oh, really?
So, yeah.
What was it?
I can't remember.
All right, you can tell us next week.
Okay.
But I really enjoyed it. And again, let's see, where is it? I had it up here.
Ooh.
He has 2 others. There's a companion book to this one right now called Love Poems for People with Children. And the novel is Talk to Me by the author John Kenny. You can. John Kenny is on Twitter, so you can find him on Twitter, and so is Elizabeth Acevedo. You can find them both there. They're both pretty active on there, so if you want to interact or learn more, you can find it there. John Kenny is regularly published in the New Yorker, which we do subscribe to here in the library, and you can find a lot of them right on the NewYorker.com. So I encourage you to check out all of those there. And again, Elizabeth Acevito's follow-up book, With the Fire on High, is coming out May 7th. So I assume we'll have that here, right?
Yeah.
All right. You heard it here from the YA librarian.
Apparently, I 4-starred it. It was God's Silence by Franz Wright.
I'm not familiar with. Do you know that poet at all? Franz Wright?
No, I haven't heard him.
All right.
Wrote
check it out, then.
Walking to Martha's Vineyard. I don't know.
Interesting. Okay. What was the title again? Say it again.
God's Silence by Franz Wright.
God's Silence by Franz Wright. Okay. All right. Well, I think that's going to do it for our little poetry corner here. So, Malik, I appreciate you bringing love poems into our lives. And
we need that.
Absolutely. Good conversation on Poet X. Eric, you want to do some library news real quick?
Oh boy, hold on. Let me think about when this is out.
We just had the Easter egg hunt recently, which we partnered with the Wellsville Rotary Club and Joseph Maury Hospital, and it was a madhouse. We had at least 200 kids here, and then add parents onto that. It was like, I'm surprised the foundation held. It was
Crazy.
It was
crazy.
Yeah.
So thanks to Rotary and thanks to Rotary and the hospital for helping us with that, because it really was excellent.
May 3rd, we're showing the film The Kid Who Would Be King at 3:30 in the Nancy Howe Auditorium.
I want to see that movie.
I actually thought, I mean, I don't want to go see it myself, but it looked like a movie that, like, as a kid, I might have enjoyed.
Okay.
So, I think as adults, we see these movies that we would have really liked as kids, but we just like, oh, this is garbage now. It's like, no, we just aren't interested anymore. And then they bomb. Like, we might have liked Monster Truck. Or Trucks?
I don't think I would have liked Monster Trucks.
Okay, well, you were off watching Wall Street.
The Monkeys.
The Monkeys.
What
was the Head? You were watching Head by the Monkeys.
Yeah, that's a trippy movie.
As an 8-year-old
So
going
trippy.
like, this says a lot that I feel, but I don't understand
Thank
it.
you.
That was your first interaction with poetry.
Thank you for making me the butt of your jokes. All right. Well, we also have the superhero party, which is coming up.
Oh, my word. Yeah, the 27th.
April 27th at 1 o'clock. That's big business, so sign up for that.
Yeah.
It's going to be fun.
I already mentioned Treasure Island, which we're doing. This is we have a theater group coming in. It's a 2-person show, and they go through the whole story of Treasure Island. So that's going to be on May 4th, and then we'll have an episode around there where Eric, Jessica, and I are going to read and discuss Treasure Island. So hope you'll join us for that. All right. I think that's going to do it. Thanks again, Malik.
Thanks
for
for
having me.
having me.
Have you back on another time. And we'll see everybody next week.
Bye. I got to hit stop on the... Now
Right.
we're by...
Okay.
Except
Now,
for
are we
Twitch.
still on Twitch?
Yeah, Twitch.
Oh, that we have... Yeah,
Streaming,
Malik stuff, yep. Malik works the front desk, the children's desk, and shelving. We had a question about what you do here. So we had the children's librarian
because
on last
Kate's
time.
on here.
Yep.
Oh.
Yep.
All right.
All right. Are we off Twitch now?
No, I haven't hit stop streaming. All right, bye,
I see.
everybody.
Okay, bye.
See you later at my own stream, where I do a lot of boring stuff lately. I haven't been playing games. I've just been...
If that lead-in is as exciting as your Twitch stream, it must be very dull.
Bye, everybody.